attention to what you tell yourself. Your word creates what you speak about. So learn to speak positively. All thanks to God Almighty for this beautiful day. Therefore, I welcome you to this program, Vivid View with Ehilise. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Moving forward, the topic for discussion today is influence of role models. Most young people are being influenced either negatively or positively by their own chosen role model. And with me in the studio is an entrepreneur, a lecturer. Let's make welcome Mayokun Christopher Ilo.
Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Welcome, Mr.
Thank you,
Christopher.
madam.
Who are role models and how do you identify them?
Actually, role models are examples in society. They are people we look up to in specific regards. It might be something to do with character, it might be with knowledge, it might be with skills. The idea of role model is not limited to any particular person or group. Anyone can be a role model. Even actually, role models have role models. So wherever you find yourself in society, you can be a good example to those coming before you and also look up to those ahead of you for inspiration in things you want to do.
So the role model is not specifically meant for some area. People think it's only musicians that are role models, only actors and actresses. But now,
No. I think the problem with that is social media. But as we are want to know and understand at this stage, if we really want to achieve the things we have in mind, it is up to us to identify those who have gone before. You know, there's this tendency to always think in terms of material things.
Exactly.
It's a problem. Rome was not built in a day.
Benny.
If you want to get to where you ought to be, you might have to set a goal of 20 years, 10 years. This idea of if I do something within 3 months, I want to blow
Blow a hammer.
and hammer, there's a problem with it.
Right.
And it's one that is fraught with disappointment.
Right. So the basic thing here is that role models are those that you can look onto for ideas, for support, for any kind of thing, not
Definitely.
specifically for a secluded, set of people.
Role models are examples.
Yes,
They
exactly.
might be religious, they might be business, they might be academic.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even have to belong to your country.
Okay.
You know, the thing is, once you identify something you need
In somebody.
in
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
else, you have to find a way of engaging,
Okay.
and from there you learn and adapt it for your own, to make your own situation in life better.
Yes. So how can one approach them? Because you say it might
approaching
not be in the country, it might be.
Definitely, for me, role models are people who have done what you intend to do. Maybe not with particularities, but generally. Somebody who has exemplified a particular character trait, somebody who has been known in a particular field of human endeavor.
Yeah.
You know, you see him or her, you say, this is the kind of person I want to be. How do I go there? For me, the first thing to do
To
is
approach
to
them, yeah.
approach them. The first approach may not really be physical.
Yes.
I think that's where we get it wrong sometimes. Some of us identify Femi Otedola, I want to be like him, or Adeleke. The next thing you see yourself doing is you are looking for him all over the place. No. Have they written books? Have they been interviewed? Are there materials available about them? You know, if you want to identify with somebody, don't identify. Somebody said, if you don't know my story, don't envy my glory. You know? If you see them that they have done something, try and see how they got there. Rome, like I said earlier, was not built in a day. You know, see what it took them. It doesn't necessarily have to take you the same length of years.
Yeah, exactly.
But at least you have to pay some price.
You have to pay some price. But is there different types of role models? I think you mentioned some of them now.
Yeah, there
Anybody
are
can be
different
role
types
model,
of role models. I think I should start by saying what role models are not.
Yes.
A role model is not your father. A role model is not your parent. Is not your pastor.
Really?
Is not your pastor.
Okay.
You know, it's somebody that you look up to in a particular area of human endeavor.
If I want to be a
He's not
pastor, I look
perfect.
up to a pastor. Can't he be my role model?
A pastor can be your role model, But the moment you identify him, he's not going to be anchoring you.
Oh, no, okay, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
That is the sense in which I mean. He's
Okay.
not there for you every day. If I'm your role model, for instance, you might have to maybe talk once a month. It's not like every day. It's not like every mistake. You don't want to make mistakes. No.
No. Okay.
You still have to learn sometimes the hard way. But in the areas that affect me or things I've done before, I can tell you, I've tried this, it didn't work. I had the opportunity of meeting somebody in UK some years back. I was about going into a business partnership with somebody. And I just mentioned it to him. He just told me, partnerships don't work in Nigeria. I disobeyed him actually, and I regretted it. But what he gave me at that instant was 30 years of his experience in the Nigerian business landscape. I ignored it and I regretted it. So it's the same thing with role models. They may not say much, but whatever they say, try and
Grab
hang
it
on
and,
to it
yes,
and grab it
work
with
with
both
it.
hands.
What are the limitations of role models, if any?
There are good sides, mostly, to having a role model. In our own engagement, I would say we link it with mentorship.
Okay.
You have to, it's your responsibility to pursue your role models. It is your responsibility to look at him in the particular areas that you want him to help you or her. They are not perfect.
They're humans like us. Yes,
They are humans.
everyone,
You
yeah.
know, the fact that maybe the person you see in business that you want to be like is a divorcee does not make him a bad or her a bad person. Or the fact that he doesn't belong to your
That's a good point. Yeah,
it
that's a
doesn't
good
belong
point.
to your particular religion doesn't mean that he will go to hellfire or you know.
Okay, so for the fact
He's
that
not
you
a
make
good
a
person.
divorcee, for instance, a role model, does not mean you too also be a divorcee
No.
in future. That's the point you're making. Yeah.
is fallible.
Yes.
You know, sometimes if I want to say something negative about Dangote, there are enough things to say about him.
Yeah, that's right.
Anytime a truck falls and it's a Dangote truck on the road, some people will say, Dangote is killing us. But that may not necessarily be true.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that there are no positive things. Because if you look at the age at which he started business, he was barely 20. Some people think somebody gave him 500,000 naira to start it.
Whether or not.
If I give you
He
5
used it
million
well.
today, can you become Dangote in 20 years?
He used it well,
You
even if.
understand? So look at the positive sides and learn. You know, if you are obsessed, there's some good obsession. They are not bad. But don't look at the glamour alone. Look at the hard work. And I tell you, if you put your hand to the plow, at the end of the day, you see yourself getting close or even surpassing the role models you have identified for yourself.
You have already mentioned that some of the limitations is when you also have a role model shouldn't, you know, force the person is modeling to do exactly what he has done. That would be wrong because some role models who do it like this, I do it like that, you know. But you give advice and a guide, provide advice and guide. So, all right. I want to ask again, what's the difference between mentor and role models?
Not much of a difference. In my own estimation, the way I look at it, a role model is
What's the thin line difference?
somebody in society you look up to. But when you engage with that person and the person responds positively to you,
Becomes a mentor.
the person becomes your own mentor. We need mentors in different areas of life. You know, I was reading some articles and I saw something about Paul and Barnabas in the Bible. You know, at the beginning it was Barnabas that held Paul, but at the end of the day he surpassed Barnabas.
In all
That's,
areas.
you know, it's like a father-son relationship.
Yeah.
At the beginning, all of us have children. But at the end of the day, you pray for your children to
Better than
outpace
you,
to be
yes,
better
in
than you, whatever
everything.
it is you are doing. It's the same thing with mentorship. Actually, we have some issues where some mentors are kind of in a cat and mouse relationship with their mentees. It shouldn't really be like that. That's one of the limitations to
Yes,
it.
yeah.
But most mentors are people that, if you succeed, they are happy for you.
Exactly.
You know, we see a lot of it in
And that's what it
Christian
should
ministry.
be. You'll be happy, you know. Beat your heart to say, yes,
This
I
person,
mentor
I
this
help
person,
this person
and that's how it's supposed to
go.
be, really. Now, finally, my own side here, what are role models, how do they influence lives? Role models, how do they influence lives now?
To a large extent, role models
Both
influences,
positively and negatively. How do they?
influences life. I wouldn't want to tell you that celebs are role models. There's a lot of expectation placed on them, but they are not necessarily role models. But because of the influence of social media and access to data that we all have, we tend to see them in the news more often.
All the time, yeah.
And they kind of are in our lives now. If you ask somebody, okay, who is this person? They don't recognize them, but when you see Davido, it's so easy to. It's so easy to
among the youths, so we're just
among
talking
the-
about, yeah.
Even among the
Adults too. Yeah.
like Davido was in US recently, and somebody of Nigerian descent was the Uber he took, and it was all over him, because you open your TV, you see them.
Yeah.
But for me, sometimes you have to shut out the noise for you to make a headway in life.
That's true.
If you don't close your ears and focus on where you are going, it's so easy to
Miss out, yeah.
get lost.
You carried away.
I tell my story sometimes. One of the best things that ever happened to me was when I was in JS1 and our TV got spoiled in the house. My dad refused to, or maybe he didn't have enough money to
replace
repair
it.
Because of that, I learned to read. Yeah, and it made all the difference in my life. You understand? We should read more. When you read a book, whoever wrote that book, you have identified with him or her. It makes all the difference you can think of. If we want to pick a role model, it's not necessary that it has to be in Nigeria. Read books. There are people who have written. We don't have a very good culture of writing in this part of the world. Even our rich men sometimes may have skeletons in their cupboard. But there are people that have built whatever it is they have built over the years, and their stories are there on the internet. I've read stories of Jeff Bezos, I've read of Mark Zuckerberg, how they started. Think of how they start. Read and put your hand to the work. Before you know it, you'll be replicating whatever it is you think your mentors have achieved.
That's basically the positive influence, So don't just copy the bad side, because every human being will have our flaws. Human being has their limitations. It's only God that's infallible. And so do not, because your mentor, like the scenario example you gave, is a divorcee. Then you also want to divorce. If I marry and that man no just make nonsense, I don't divorce and push him. After all, my mentor.
Let me also say something.
Not be right.
If we think of our mentors like our parents,
yes,
when we are young, our parents can do no wrong. But by the time you get to 15, 16, you begin to rebel. By the time you are 20, 25, you begin to see the flaws of your parents.
Exactly.
They are not perfect.
Yeah.
They make decisions that are not correct.
Yeah.
They say things that don't make sense. They can even say things, and the following day, because you have internet, the things they told you, like when I was young, my elder sister used to tell me that they use red biro to write names of dead people. I believe that because she was the one I was looking up to. But now I use red biro. In fact, I think I have one in my pocket. You understand? I don't think of it that
and you're
way.
still alive. You're not dead.
Still alive, you understand? So
yeah.
It's up to you to find those corrections.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that the person that gave you the information when you didn't know better meant evil. Yeah. They gave you what they knew at the time. You understand? As you get older, you know better, and you can always correct whatever it is you are doing.
Thank you so much. We'll take a break now. We'll come back, we enter question and answer session. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
My name's Alex Obong, aka MCQ. My question, how do one identify with a trustworthy model?
My name is Akpala Matthew. My question is, how does one choose role models in this dispensation of widespread of corruption in our society?
My name is Akeremi Odunayo, and my question is, Should we imitate our role model in everything they do? Thank you.
My name is Ayodele Adidamola. He said role models are examples in the society. They are people we look up to. So my question is this: are all role models well known in the society? Thank you.
My name is Balogo Oluwasegun. My question will relate to, can one have more than one role model? And can one's role model be changed at any given time?
My name is Oinda Olani. My question is, what are the qualities of positive role models?
Welcome back. Still discussing influence of role models, and questions are being asked from the audience. So I direct them to guests for his response.
Thank you, ma'am. Alex wants to know, how do you identify a trustworthy role model? It's your responsibility. There are values in society where we live, and there are values that we all espouse, that there are things we want to do. We look at things like honesty, we look at things like faithfulness, we look at things like hard work. These are things that, wherever society you find yourself, there are people that already show those traits. We read about them in newspapers, we live amongst some of them. The mistake we make sometimes is to think role models are only people you see on TV. Not necessarily. As kids, our first role models are actually our parents. You know, I saw a write-up somewhere where a parent was telling the child, be careful where you walk. The child now told the father, be careful where you walk. I walk in your own steps. Meaning, you are the first role model to your child. And our parents are our own role models, despite their flaws. So you start by identifying your parents. But I'm sorry to say, not all parents are actually good role models.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you get to that stage and you are old enough to know that there are some things your parents used to do. My dad used to smoke. You know, I never smoked in my life.
Or even between your mother and your present. So when you also grow up, you know that's not the right thing to do.
You know that is not the right thing to do.
Yes.
You know, so look for people who are doing the things you would rather do with your life.
Okay.
Identify with them and come under their tutelage. If they will have you, you'll be happy you did. Then I think Matthew wants to know how we choose role models in a corrupt society, you know. There is no society that is corruption-free. That is one. Two, when you go to the market, you ignore the noise in the market. You focus on what
that brought you there.
Yeah, brought you to the market. So identify those who are doing the things you want done. Okay, I give you another example. Femi Otedola said he has sold his oil company, Forte Oil. Even me, I don't know the person that he sold it to. So whoever it is for him to have that kind of money to buy what Femi Otedola has, he's been around for some time. But we don't know him. That doesn't mean he's not existing.
That's true.
So the people who are close to him, to his workers, where the company has founded, they've known him all along. It's the same thing with role models. You'll be surprised if you want to identify people in a certain field of human endeavor. They are there waiting for you to discover them.
That's true.
Go on LinkedIn, type people in this category. You will see lists. Just type 100 Fortune 500 companies in Nigeria. There's a whole list of companies. Identify one or two or three of them.